Welcome to the NJC's 10-minute takeaway, where we will try and cram in as much information as we can into a 10-minute workshop. I'm Tom Stenson, audit trainer and head of training for the ADINJC. And today I am joined by Charli Hodgson, who is a member of the Health and Wellbeing Subcommittee for the ADINJC, Director of Drive Up Training, and an ADI trainer from York, who is a former personal trainer. Welcome, Charli.
Thank you for having me.
In today's topic, we will be discussing mental health and fitness for instructors, and our 10 minutes starts now. So, Charli, how have you kind of integrated your previous role as a personal trainer into what you do now as a driving instructor?
That is a really good question to start with. Thank you very much. So I suppose fitness has always been part of my life. I didn't really realize how much I needed it until I came away from the gym sector. Kind of more for myself than other people, I guess. When I first started being a driving instructor, I found it very, very difficult to be on my own in a car with nobody else apart from the learner, and sitting down all day. I really struggle with that concept of just sitting. So to start with, I was just parking really far from toilets and amenities and making myself walk as much as I possibly could. If I got to the student's house a little bit earlier, to have a little walk around the block, I still do that now. And it really helps mindset as well, which I didn't really realize either at the time. So really good to kind of just block everything else out. That's my time, and that's my time to switch everything off.
And you make some really good points there of just those little, excuse the pun, steps where, just walking to the toilets a little bit further, or walking to go and meet the learner, or even getting the learner out of the car to go, let's talk around the vehicle and, let's stretch our legs. Just those little bits seem to make quite a big difference. Is there anything that you find that kind of when you chat to other ADIs or PDIs, sort of other advice that you would give them that helps them to kind of get a little bit more exercise? Because we're not saying to people, you've got to go out and run marathons, are we?
Not. No, definitely not. I've been there and done that. My knees hurt. I'm past that stage now. Happy just getting that heart going. The heart's a muscle at the end of the day. We want to still make that strong and healthy. So anything that you are going to be doing that is not just sitting down is going to work it. So just like what you've just said, get the learner out. We all know that having a little pause and pressing the reset button is sometimes really, really super helpful for that learner. So just getting them out, getting some fresh air, just a minute, 30 seconds, get them back in, and their mindset is completely different.
And do you
They
find
do.
that kind of the exercise for you as well helps with your mental health?
Oh, 100%. And I didn't really realize how much it helped until I was in this industry where it is very singular and it can be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not remote.
Insular.
Insular, yes,
Yeah.
insular. So I'm used to being really chatty with loads of people in a gym and going from that kind of environment and retail after that to something that you kind of are just on your own all the time, and in between you just with your own thoughts driving from lesson to lesson. It can be very, it can draining, suck the life out of you.
Mm.
Sometimes, depending on your thought process, I sometimes overanalyze things and overthink, and actually just getting out and having a little bit of a walk and just involving myself in the outside world massively helps. I've also started doing some kind of breathing exercises, which I didn't believe in before, but I do now. You can't knock it till you've tried it, can you?
And they
So I've
work, don't they?
they do work, really, really work. And obviously, they're not going to work for everybody. You've got to believe in what you're doing as well. And you've got to do them properly and be open-minded. So, yeah, breathing exercise, grounding exercises are really good. There's some of those on the website, the new page for the wellbeing stuff. So that's worth checking out as well. And it's just 30 seconds a minute that you need to do. You can sit in the car and do it. You don't even have to get out if you don't want to, but it's super good for the mind.
And do you do these with your learners as well as kind of when you're delivering training for PDIs and ADIs?
Sometimes, yep. So I have been out in the car and doing stretching with my learners before. They get cramp in their ankles and things like that. Get out, let's do some stretches, and we get back in and they're fresh. Sometimes, if you've got a really anxious pupil learner, then we do some kind of deep breaths and that sort of just taking that minute just to stop, pause, have a bit of a minute for yourself, and that seems to help them as well, just calm everything down. But yeah, I'm not an expert in that field. I'm just doing things that help me really and seeing if that translates for them.
More of a practitioner.
Yeah.
And this was kind of something that me and Lynn had mentioned recently as well. I kind of suffer from previous injuries. And when I'm sat in the car for long periods, I've sort of given myself some gentle exercises to do when I'm sat in the car. So, just sort of contracting some of my muscles that help to just kind of get that little bit of motion going, or stretching my legs. I'm doing this in not critical times because I want to be able to reach the pedals. Have you got any other suggestions that people can do that perhaps while they're still in the car or between lessons?
The one that I really like to do is I make sure that I'm as tall as I can possibly be so that my posture is good because I do find that a lot of the time I slouch down and you kind of go further and further into your seat. And then when I look at my mirror, actually, I can't see what I could see before. So I've slouched down so much that I'm so relaxed, but it's not good for our posture or our abdominal muscles, so they can get really slack. I can't think of a better word.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes
if we're not,
sense.
if we're not using them. So when you're holding yourself up in a nice upright position, you're working all those core muscles, which is really good for the body. So yeah, just things like that when you're going from A to B. Obviously, you can't really think about that stuff when you're in a lesson, but I kind of start off there. And then if we stop for a chat and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a bit slouched, I'll sit upright again and I'll carry on talking. So you can kind of do it throughout, but definitely in between lessons, you can focus on that stuff, as well as watching the road, obviously.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
You mean as well as watching 10-minute takeaways?
Oh, obviously, yes.
So I suppose one of the things that often crops up is, especially for driving instructors, we're self-employed and money is time, time is money. So do you, like with your trainees, do you suggest to them that they try and put perhaps sort of not, things in their diary to sort of say, well, actually, you need to be making time for this? Or do you suggest that they just do it as and when they've got the time to do it?
It's up to the individual. I actually had an interesting conversation with someone about this the other day, so this is quite good. And they, like many others, time was an issue. Don't have time to do this, don't have time to do it. And if they do kind of schedule it into their diary, they end up saying yes to a learner. And, as we do, we can't say no sometimes. But actually, when you put it across, if you've got something in your diary that's for you, and it's in Total Drive or whatever diary you're using, I personally wouldn't swap a learner out for something if something was in my diary. So I wouldn't swap a learner out for another learner or whatever. So why would I swap my time for myself for something else when it is important to me? Um, and once it's in there, you're accountable. So I know that with Drive Up, we can all see each other's diaries. So if somebody is looking at mine and they see that I'm at the gym, and then all of a sudden those sessions go out and I've got a learner in there, somebody says that to me and brings it up. Oh, you're not at the gym today. I thought you were at the gym. So it makes you accountable as well, which is a good tool if you aren't very kind of, if you don't push yourself and motivate yourself. Sometimes we do need other people to motivate us into doing these things. And it doesn't have to be to go to the gym. It can be just to go for a walk. It could be to go outside and do some stretches in the fresh air. It could be to walk the dog. Anything that just gets you up and moving, stretching, really, really good. It still sometimes gets you out of breath.
Yeah.
Madonna does a lot of stretching, which is all dynamic. So you can still do those things even if you're not super cardiovascular friendly.
Maybe we need to have a chat with Dan at My Drive Time so we can have a section called My Gym Time.
Yes, that'd be amazing. I'd sign
We'll,
up to that tomorrow.
we'll put some words in and see what we can get in. So if you could give trainees or ADIs sort of three top tips about sort of staying focused with their mental health, but staying on top of fitness without having to go off and do marathons every week, what would be your top three tips?
So, firstly, the one that you've just said, so create time in your diary, whether that be writing it down or whether you can just schedule it in yourself mentally, that would be the first step because that's the barrier usually. Second, make a little bit of time between lessons. So just get to your lesson 10 minutes earlier and take that time just to have a deep breath, do a little bit of deep breathing and reset yourself for that next lesson. And the third one, make time to stretch. So anything really from when I said we could change our posture, make sure we're standing nice and tall, or just some general neck stretches, because as driving instructors, we're facing that way all the time, so we get really stiff necks. So that's useful. So anything that you can do that isn't just nothing, basically. Anything is something great.
Something is better than nothing.
Very true.
Super. Charlie, that is the end of our 10 minutes. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you back on another episode.
Thank you so much for having me.